Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Nrsingadev, Jai Nrsingadev, Nrsingadev, Jai Nrsingadev. Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj. Nrsingadev Bhagavan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Go Premanande, Haribol, Haribol.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and thank you for sacrificing your Sunday in a long weekend of Women's Month. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be in the shelter of Sri Sri Dal Nitai Gaura Hari, and that's wonderful. I will be introducing His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami shortly, but I'd like for you to listen very carefully as we churn the mood of festivity to the wonderful appearances of the Lord. This Friday is the glorious appearance of Lord Balaram, and that is the 12th of August. So please come. We have His Grace Prithu Prabhu, a Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada disciple, who was with us, and he will be talking on the glories of Lord Balaram. And it doesn't stop there, because on Saturday, the glories of Lord Balaram are further reinforced by His Holiness Bhakti Briyat Bhagavat Swami. And that program starts in the afternoon at 5, and there's also a delicious prasadam feast, dinner, for your pleasure in the evening. So we start with it on Friday the 12th, and then we continue Friday the 13th. And of course we have our routine Sunday Love Feast Festival on the 14th, continuing the mood of celebrating Lord Balaram. And of course, dear devotees, the most glorious appearance of Lord Shri Krishna is on the 19th, which is the next Friday. So there's much festivities that are manifesting on our material plane. And for those of you who read scriptures, you'll know that in the spiritual world that can manifest here in Sri Sri Dhammitai Gaura Hari's temple, every step is a dance, every word is a song, and every day is a festival. So please diarize this and make sure you bring your friends, your family. We have enough space to fill our temple up. And just to reinforce that you are being given the wonderful opportunity to bathe the Lord on Sri Krishna Janmashtami. Our head Pujari is here, His Grace Nityananda Pran Prabhu, and he can tell you more about this bathing. But these are the pamphlets that you can give to your family and friends, and take this as a personal invite. the pamphlets, Radha Priya, and she will be distributing it to you after Guru Puja. We'd love for you to come and beg the Lord. You have this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity to do so. So make yourself available on the evening of the 19th. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce to you His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, who's become so very familiar to all of us.
So you don't need to say anything.
No, so we know that you are an author, an initiating guru, a great preacher, like a wonderful parikram leader of the Holy Dham. But recently, I think of last year, you've created your own institute of education. And I think this needs to be celebrated. It's the Bhakti Chaitanya Institute of Education under the Mayapur Institute and also under the banner of our South African Ministry of Education. And last year, Maharaj had many graduates in the Bhakti Shastri. And this year, Maharaj is teaching Bhakti Vaibhav, which is the scripture of Srimad Bhagavatam that was left behind in this iron age of Kali to bring all auspiciousness and light. I'm talking too much. Please forgive me, Maharaj. It is you that need to speak. But really, I invite everyone to listen every day to the Bhakti Vaibhav classes. They're online. And they're absolutely wonderful. Because Maharaj knows how to dig deep into the Srimad Bhagavatam and bring out all the transcendental nectar in such an astute way so that we can just grab at the nectar. Thank you. Won't you put your hands together and welcome His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami.
I think they're applauding your MC work. You can see you've got a real speech and drama background. Particularly drama, maybe. But you're explaining the details of the program over the next week or couple of weeks. And I was thinking, gosh, I'm going to have to come. It sounds, it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice. Are you having a Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja?
Yes, I'm sorry, the next day.
It's a Saturday.
It's just so wonderful because normally, it's a weekday.
Yes.
But we can have a glorious celebration on that Saturday.
Right.
I'm hoping for an evening program so that we all manage to rest a bit after
Sure.
midnight.
Sure.
And then really celebrate Srila Prabhupada very nicely.
Right. So that's 2 weeks from now on Saturday. Wow, what a program. It's amazing. ISKCON Peter Maritzburg, it's all happening here. And you've got Avinash leading the kirtan. Wow. And Shakti playing the mridanga. Wow. It's good. It's not bad. It's good. Yeah, I mean, the talent here is great. Well, okay, devotees and friends. Yes, let us sing Jai Radha Madhava. Who's going to sing? Are you a singer, Radha Raman Prabhu? You look like a singer. Yeah, okay. Got unusual kartals here, anyway. It's okay. I think we can manage, sort of. Oh. Thank you. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachare. Yamunatira Vanachare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachare. Yamunatira Vanachare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharyas Tadis Sisamad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Shri Shri Dayal Nitai Gaura Hari Ki, Sankirtan Yatra Ki, Julan Yatra Ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, devotees and friends, I was asked to say a few words about, how to put it, sort of like how to get yourself ready, I think, to sort of tune in, you could say tune in, to the mood for these upcoming festivals. This is really our festival season, so to speak. Yeah, in this, from Lord Balaram's appearance day through Janmashtami and Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, and then Radhastami. Radhastami will be on September the 4th. And then, of course, well, a little later, what's it going to be? October the 26th, I think, is Govardhan Puja. So it's a whole thing, really, a whole period with these multiple festivals. Very, very nice. And we should tune in. We should tune in as much as possible and gear ourselves up, ready ourselves for the particular festivals. And I think it's not something we celebrate here, but actually starting tomorrow until Thursday, the day before Lord Balaram's appearance day, it's Julan Yatra. Julan Yatra. Julan means swing. A swing, people sit on and a swing like that. So Julan Yatra. Radha Govinda Julan Yatra. It's the swing festival of Radha Govinda, Radha and Krishna. And at least I know down in Radha Radhanath temple in Durban, we're definitely celebrating. We do every year. And the little Radha Krishna deities are put on a little swing, and a cord is attached. And of course, it's managed carefully so nobody jerks them or does something, a bit too severe or whatever. But it's really nice. Everyone can come and pull the swing of Radha and Krishna. It's really beautiful. So beautiful, actually. Because, when we do deity worship on the altar here and there also, and New Jagannath Puri and Phoenix in Durban, then there's an element of formality, you could say, that there's a process, a system of deity worship which is it's been going on for hundreds of years, even more, even thousands. How to do everything for the deities properly. So there's that, it's very systematic, and there's this element, you could say, of formality. Some might think a sort of ceremonial or ritualistic type of mood, although it's not really quite like that. It depends on people's attitudes, but at least there's really an element of formality and doing things this way, and then that way, and then that way, and you got to do it like that. Yeah, it's official. But there's certain occasions, and this Julan Yatra is one of them, where it's more of like a personal exchange. It's like clearly a personal exchange, offering arati as our Prabhu was doing, Haribol, nicely earlier today, is personal also. But this is really very personal, because you're pulling on the swing, and you see Radha and Krishna smiling there. It's nice. I don't suppose there's a plan, is there? Anyway, I guess that means no. But it's something you can think about for the future. But anyway, I thought that, let me just say a few words about the background historically in terms of the pastime of the Radha Govinda Julan Yatra. It's a festival. It has a historical background in the sense that this happened when Srimati Radharani was living in Varshana and Lord Krishna was living in Nandagram. So it's in the later stages of their Vrindavan pastimes, and just shortly before Krishna moved to Mathura and then Dwaraka. So in those pastimes you get all these incidents happening in which Srimati Radharani, in very transcendental, spiritual ways, not just ordinary ways, gets a little annoyed with Krishna. Yeah. And Krishna is one person we should not get annoyed with, actually. We were discussing this morning in the class in the temple how the Lord is complete and his arrangements are complete and perfect. So even when Krishna makes some arrangement, like, someone close to us passes away, these things happen, of course. So someone close to us passes away, and naturally we feel disturbed. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just natural. So we feel disturbed. And I know many people at that time, that sort of time, they think, oh God, what are you doing? Why did you do this? Can't you do a better job of being God? I remember, when the big tsunami hit Indonesia, if you remember that, 10 years ago, whatever it was. I was in Joburg and we were driving to a program, driving through the city and then out on the Rudaport side. And there was one of these little placards. They're not big, like sort of a meter by half a meter or something, where for the newspapers, and there's like a little headline, the main story for the day, that sort of thing. So we saw one, we're driving past, and that placard thing, it said, tsunami, where was God? I remember that so vividly. It's like a real put down of God. Who do you think you are, God? You're not doing your job. But actually whatever the Lord does is perfect and complete. And even in situations like that, whatever Krishna does is complete. So this Julan Yatra, its basis is, at least it stems from, a situation in which Srimati Radharani becomes transcendentally, spiritually annoyed, quote unquote, with Krishna. It's very much pastime, interaction, affectionate interaction. And what happened was, well, there's a few things, but one of them, it was a full moon night, because you may not know, but when Krishna is here, every night is a full moon night. Did you know that? Maybe not. Yeah, every night is a full moon night. Just beautiful. So it was a full moon night, and Radha and Krishna were meeting in that area, Varshana area, and Krishna was thinking, he was thinking what to say to Srimati Radharani. What sort of appreciation can I express which she will appreciate? She'll feel, oh, that's nice. He said a nice thing about me. So Krishna, he's thinking and thinking, what can I say, what can I say? And he looked up and he saw the full moon. And he thought, I know. So he said to Srimati Radharani, your face is so beautiful. It's just like the full moon. And Krishna sort of patted himself on the back, said a good thing there. But Radharani looked at the full moon, and you know what she noticed? There were spots on the full moon. There were spots there. And she thought, no. Krishna is trying to be clever. And he's trying to say, I've got a spotty face. Wow. And she got upset. Transcendentally. It's transcendental. It's not just, some sort of being unpleasant with each other type of thing. So she walked off. And, it's a bit of a long story. We have many long stories in Krishna consciousness. It's a bit of a long story. Off she went. The next day, and Krishna was following after her and sort of pleading that, I didn't mean it like that. But these things happen to heighten the intensity of emotion in the pastimes. So the next day, Krishna's thinking what to do, just what to do. And his cousin, Kundalata, who's also one of the gopis, but she is his cousin, and so her relationship with him is not conjugal, it's a friendly relationship, technically speaking. So they're discussing, and the idea came up that Krishna, disguise yourself as a girl. Krishna does this sometimes. And we will go to where Radharani is, and we will tell her, you are a singer, and you have just returned from the heavenly planets, and you want to sing for Radharani, and then you'll sing for her. And because, of course, you know, Krishna, whatever he does is just the best. So you'll sing something just so beautiful, and Radharani will be impressed and just feeling very happy with you. And then you'll reveal, look, I'm Krishna actually. And then she'll say, oh, okay then. And forget about the problem from the previous evening. So right, that's what we'll do. So that's what they did. They disguised Krishna as a gopi. And they did it so amazingly that you just couldn't tell that this is not a girl. Just couldn't tell. And so they went to a place, it's called Vilaska. Some of you may have been with us to Vrindavan and to Varshana area. There are 4 hills, and one of them, well actually, there's 5 hills. There's 5 hills. One of them's called Vilaskar, which basically means the place of pastimes. Nice place, very nice. So Radharani was up there with her girlfriends, and up there is a big swing. And I mean a really big swing. It's as high, or maybe higher, than the ceiling up there, right in the center. You know, it's high, and it's big and solid. It's really, it's a big, hefty swing set up. So there they were, Radharani and the gopis, and who should come but Kundalata and Krishna disguised as a gopi. So, and looking so just totally, incredibly beautiful, that Radharani and the gopis were fascinated. And who are you? And we never met you before. Where are you from? And they just really started sort of gathering around Krishna disguised as a gopi, as a girl. And Kundalata explained, as I mentioned, that this girl has just returned from the heavenly planets. She was learning singing under Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods, and she wants to come and sing for you, Srimati Radharani. And she is really good. So, oh yes, Radharani and the gopis, they hadn't picked up at all yet who this is. Oh, and she said that her name is Kalavali, which basically means one who's expert in artistic presentations. So then Krishna spoke in a girl's voice. Yes. This is Krishna. Krishna can do anything. Now, Krishna can speak in any language. Krishna, I mean, I don't want don't take this the wrong way, but Krishna can speak Afrikaans. Yeah. He can speak Hindi, even though Hindi is a kitchen language. But he can speak kitchen Hindi. And you name it. And he speaks the languages of the animals. So he can speak in the voice of a girl too if he wants. And it actually sounds like the voice of a girl. But not just the voice of a girl, like the most melodic and beautiful voice of, the most special girl. So Krishna Kalavali asked, what would you like me to sing? And Srimati Radharani said, I want you can sing something in the Malavala raga, which is, there are different ragas, different tune systems for different times of the day. Normally we mainly just use two, the morning raga and the evening raga, morning and evening. But there are other ragas for other times and just other moods. So, but this raga is the most complex. From so low, did you ever hear, what was his name? Panarotti, was that his name? The Italian? Panarotti, was that his name? Pavarotti. Thank you. I'm not so up on those things. Yeah, he could sing such deep bass. And, someone like Lakshmi Shankar, you heard her sing so high, she's just squeaking. So this raga, it's like that, from like total bass to like total squeak. Super soprano. But up and down and up and down and around. So it's actually not humanly possible. Only people like Gandharvas, demigods, can sing in that raga. So Kalavali, Krishna said, sure, no problem. I'll do it. And she sang a song in that raga. And it was just totally perfect, incredibly perfect. And all the gopis were just totally astonished, to put it mildly. And Radharani, when she finished, she finished, Radharani said, that was so beautiful. I want to reward you. At that moment, devotees, listen to this. Lalita came. She had been sort of checking out Kalavali, and had noticed that Kalavali had a sari on, noticed there was a flute sticking out from the sort of waistband. And she went to Radharani and said, I figured out who this person is. And told Radharani, but Radharani acted like everything's fine. But she's thinking what to do to catch him out. He's trying to be a smart aleck. So she said to Kalavali, Krishna, I must give you something. I will give you a new set of clothes. Yes, I have to give you something. Which of course means they will have to undress Kalavali Krishna, which could be a bit embarrassing. So, to cut a pretty long story short, Kalavali and Kundalata tried to politely refuse that. Kalavali said, no, I sang as a service for you, just to please you, just as a service. If you give me something, then it means it's sort of commercialized. I don't want to accept a reward that would spoil the mood of service. But Radharani and Lalita, they said, no, it's okay. We must do it. This is our practice. So they just grabbed Kalavali Krishna and started changing her clothes. And Haribol, they realized pretty quickly, this is Krishna, this is a boy, this is not a girl. So then an interesting thing happened. I mean, it could have just ended there. But Krishna suddenly grabbed the clothes, the sari and everything else, and just put it back on. And who should come? Who should come but Radharani's mother-in-law, Jatila, who is, in Western culture, I know it's different from Indian culture, but in Western culture, mothers-in-law have reputations. I don't know if you're aware of that, if you're one already. Oh yeah, the mother-in-law is just like, oh no. Jatila is the mother-in-law of Srimati Radharani, and she's like the original mother-in-law. Yeah, just the prototype mother-in-law, totally, on the case of the daughter-in-law. So Kalavali Krishna wrapped the clothes on really quickly, and Jatila came, and Kalavali Krishna started rolling on the ground and crying and crying and crying. And Jatila asked, what's the problem? And Kalavali Krishna said, I am the cousin of your daughter-in-law, and I have come to visit her, and she has ignored me. And crying and crying. She's ignored me. Oh, my heart is broken. And Jatila, easily misled, said to Radharani, how dare you do this with your cousin? This is terrible. You must embrace your cousin now in front of me. And Radharani's husband Abhimanyu came, husband quote unquote, and said, I'm ordering you too. And Radharani had to embrace Kalavali Krishna, which normally is impossible. But this nice prayer, she says, how amazing are these pastimes, that here I am, that very person who according to these two, I cannot even glance at for 1 second. Now I'm embracing him. How on their order I'm embracing him. And then, to come to the Julan Yatra part, then, because there's this big swing frame there, this big, it's like a small building, you could say. Radha and Krishna swung together. And that's the original Radha Govinda Julan Yatra, the pastime of Radha and Krishna being swung, and the gopis, they were swinging them. Of course, by that time Jatila and Abhimanyu had gone, so the gopis took it in turns to swing Radha and Krishna as a very beautiful, very personal type of pastime, and very beautiful and personal type of festival, where we are actually literally reenacting the pastime, at least the swinging pastime. We are taking the position of the gopis and swinging Radha and Krishna for their pleasure, their enjoyment together. And it's such a nice festival. Another nice part is it goes on for 4 days. Your normal festival, like even Balaram's appearance day on Friday, it's 1 day. Janmashtami is 1 day. Generally these festivals are 1 day. But this is 4 days. 4 days. Radha Govinda Julan Yatra. So there you go. And sometime any of you who have Radha Krishna deities at home, you could bring them and set them up, and you could do it here. It's possible. It's not impossible. So, just to meditate, to remember these things, think of these things, it puts us in the mood. In Krishna consciousness, mood is very important. Attitude, state of consciousness, emotional condition. These things, they're all very important features, parts of the whole process of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not just another version of ritualism. It's not that. It's, in fact, Srila Prabhupada said, Prabhupada raised the question, what is Krishna consciousness? It sounds must be a rhetorical question. It's too obvious. But he raised the question, what's Krishna consciousness? And then he answered that Krishna consciousness means, Krishna consciousness is developing a personal relationship with Krishna disguised as a process. Disguised as a process. Just, do this, and then do that, and then do another thing. That's a process. And of course, Prabhupada referred to Krishna consciousness on numerous occasions as a process. So, it's okay. But when you look a little deeper into the essence, then that's what it is. Development of a personal relationship with Krishna, disguised as a process. So those are some thoughts on the Julan Yatra festival. And then Lord Balaram's appearance day is coming up on Friday, and Prithu Prabhu is coming, right? Prithu Prabhu. And he's nice. Has he been here yet? To Maritzburg? Oh, he has, yeah? Okay. Anyway, he's really nice. I've known him a long time. And he's been a devotee more than 50 years now. Yeah. He was initiated early 1972. So, he has been around a long time. And he knows many stories. Yeah. So Friday then, Lord Balaram's appearance day is there. And so let me just mention something about Lord Balaram. Let me just tell you a little story. And it's a Prabhupada story about Lord Balaram and Krishna. It's really nice. You may have heard it. It's not extremely well known, but it is known. So when Prabhupada was in India, he'd taken a group of devotees, Western devotees, to India. And he was taking them around different places around India and doing festivals and so on. So one day, they were somewhere in India. Actually, I don't know where, but somewhere. And one devotee, Madhu Dvisa Prabhu, a really nice devotee who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, and Mother Yamuna who was also an extremely nice devotee, but who passed away also a few years ago, and who had agreed to come here. She was going to come here to South Africa, but she passed away. So they were having sort of a debate come argument, if you know what I mean. A boisterous debate, or kind of, mild argument about Krishna and Balaram. And Madhudavisa said, there's no difference between Krishna and Balaram. There's no difference. Just there's a difference in color. Krishna is blackish. Shyam means a bluish black. Dark, very dark, but there's an element of bluishness in it. And Balaram is white. When we say white, we mean white. Like Avinash's dhoti, like this devotee's clothes, means white. Not like my face. My face is not white. Although people would say I'm white. Anyway, actual white, Lord Balaram. Just a difference in color. But there's no difference as persons. There's just no difference. And Mother Yamuna said, no, there is a difference. In that Krishna is the only enjoyer of Srimati Radharani. Balaram is not. They have a different relationship. Actually, their relationship is one of friendship. Balaram and Radharani, Sakya Ras. They're friends. Just, in a very just sort of platonic, friendly way. So Yamuna said, yeah, there's this difference. Krishna is the only enjoyer of Radharani, not Balaram. This is an important difference. So Tamal Krishna Goswami, another really amazing devotee who passed away also some years ago, he was there, and Prabhupada was nearby, and he said, listen, just hold on there, just cool down. Let's go and ask Prabhupada. So they went and spoke with Prabhupada. And Tamal Krishna said to Srila Prabhupada on behalf of them, Tamal Krishna Goswami said that Madhudavisa Das, a young man at the time, he says there's no difference between Krishna and Balaram. There's just this difference of color, but it doesn't matter. It's not like a substantial difference of person. So he says they're the same. And Prabhupada said, he's right. And Tamal Krishna said, but Mother Yamuna says there is a difference, because Krishna is the only enjoyer of Radharani. And Prabhupada said, she's right. And Tamal Krishna Goswami said, Srila Prabhupada, they can't both be right. And Prabhupada said, you're right. So Prabhupada's just such a character in so many ways. Yeah. And Tamal Krishna Goswami said, but how are we meant to understand this? And Prabhupada said, you decide. In other words, Hare Krishna, just don't worry about it. Don't get into it. There's some questions like that, like super esoteric type questions, which can't even be answered actually. And so Prabhupada said the answer for such questions is Hare Krishna. That's the answer. Done. Finished. Like you may have heard, we don't Tulsi on Dwadasi. Tomorrow's Ekadasi, the 11th day of the moon. On the 12th day, Dwadasi, which will be Tuesday, you're not meant to pick Tulsi. It's one of those process things. It's a rule. So a devotee asked Prabhupada, and this rule is stated in a book of Srila Sanatana Goswami's, whose great authority from the time of Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. So the devotee said to Prabhupada that Sanatana Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas says, we're not meant to pick Tulsi on Dwadasi. Why? And Prabhupada answered, because Sanatana Goswami said so. And there's another one, what was it? Oh yeah. Prabhupada was in Hawaii, and they had at that time, a small temple, quite small, nothing like this, just a house with like the living room, and just a regular house, nothing special, so just a small temple room. But there were a lot of devotees there because Prabhupada had come. So devotees had come from all around the Hawaiian Islands. So there's a lot of devotees there, and it was Tulsi morning program, Tulsi Puja, worshipping Tulsi Devi. And the kirtan's going on, and they're circumambulating, walking around Tulsi. But there's so many devotees, some of them were just inadvertently brushing against Tulsi, which you don't do. And Prabhupada stopped the kirtan and said, don't touch Tulsi. So now everyone, they're going around, but they're sort of pulling away so as not to touch Tulsi. And Prabhupada stopped the kirtan again, and listen to this, believe it or not, and here's it's not exactly like a regular rule, but it's somewhere in amongst some rules. Prabhupada said, don't step on Tulsi's shadow. Hare Krishna. So now the devotees, they're going around and they're jumping over Tulsi's shadow. And Prabhupada stopped the kirtan again and said, don't step over Tulsi's shadow. Whew. So later the same day, the head pujari, who's in charge of all the deity worship, including picking leaves from the Tulsi plants, he approached Prabhupada and said, we have to be so respectful and careful with Tulsi, we shouldn't even step over her shadow. Yes, Prabhupada said. So, but me, the pujari said, me, what to speak of stepping over her shadow? I pick her leaves, like almost every day. And, it's a lot worse than stepping over her shadow. Srila Prabhupada, what should I do? What should I do? And Prabhupada said, don't live and don't die. In other words, Hare Krishna. Just, do your best, really. Okay, so there we go. I think now we should have Guru Puja, isn't it? Yes. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Julan Yatra ki jai. Go Premanande.